Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Now, today we got the Kakao Games information from the financial reporting. The reason for this video is to basically talk about Chrono Odyssey seems to have now been delayed until Q4 of 2026. So before we get into this information, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and if you're interested in mmorpgs and open world RPGs, that is what I love and that is what I cover here on the channel. Now, so the information we've got is not obviously not much, but they had a investors call like they always do, and then what they do is they talk about what's happening with their games and stuff like that. And in this occasion, it's now showing us that there's been a few delays. I will put the image up in a moment for you guys to have a look at. But what has happened? So it's looking like Chrono Odyssey is currently, going to be launching in Q4 of 2026. Now, obviously, this is an earnings call, and it's not technically it's not an official date announced by by the company, but the fact is they're not going to really be lying to the investors. So I always kind of take these earning calls as official, if you like, in quotation marks, because obviously it's not like they've come out here and Chrono Studios hasn't made an announcement, but I'm pretty sure they will soon. This is what normally happens after these earnings calls. So we have a rough idea of basically. To be fair though, I did already say many times that I don't think we're going to see Chrono Odyssey now until the end of 2026, and I even said maybe the first quarter of 2027, just due to the fact of how the first closed beta test went, how the the response from the devs, it looks like they're basically redoing near enough the whole game. Now, I'm not going to say it wasn't needed. You guys and girls, we already know all of the drama and all of the feedback and the hate for the game, so I'm not going to cover that. But yeah, I'm not going to lie, I am pretty disappointed, not because I think it was ready, but because of this whole new build, really good new build narrative that was sort of used. I also thought that was the case. I was defending them during all of this craziness that we had, and it's quite clear to see that the new build that we were talking about, obviously even that wasn't good enough, because obviously now they have another over a year and a half to polish the game. Of course, it's a good thing because the game needs it, but yeah, as always, as a MMO fan, whenever there's a huge delay, I mean, come on guys, we get disappointed, right? So, but interestingly enough, so the first closed beta test for Chrono Odyssey, that took place on the 20th of June, 2025. And there was obviously a lot of mixed reactions. The community as a whole, though, thought that Chrono Odyssey, including myself, obviously, has a lot of potential, but it is definitely not ready for launch, right? So character creator was very, very good. But with that, it gave way too much freedom, like to the point where players were making like something disgustingly looking, immersion breaking characters. And yeah, it was treated more like a joke. Open world is obviously great. The combat, this is my opinion, the combat is very, very good and fluid. There are little bits of, touching up it that could be done. Crafting system is great. Storyline, if you actually paid attention to it, was decent. It did lack direction, but yeah, that was what the Dark Soul-esque aspect of it was, what was hooking me in and many other players in. Now, the devs have, been very, I will take my hat off to them. They have been very, very good with this. They have been very communicative and transparent, and they have been taking all of this feedback. Like the CEO has been so active on Twitter. He was literally responding to nearly, from what I could see at the time, nearly every single person's comment. And yeah, it was refreshing to see that his passion, it's just his passion for the game is evident. So I just hope that this extra long time that they are going to take. I really hope, I have my fingers crossed that, because the CBT2 guys, this CBT2 already had, you know, big question marks on it, right? Everyone was saying, look, CBT2 needs to be really, really good. But now at the fact that we can see that they're going to have a 1.5 year delay, I'm not sure obviously when the second CBT will be, but I feel like this puts even more pressure on the devs to deliver something, you know, way better than what the public got to see before. So the question is, will they wait till 2026 to do the second closed beta test, or will they wait towards like maybe Q4 of this year to showcase us the second CBT? I'm not too sure, but in the earnings call, they did say the following. So they said, through the CBT, it has really helped us to understand and recognize the high level of interest and positive anticipation that has been building up in the Western market, which is the market we are actually targeting. It is highly likely that we can turn this market expectation into a long-term commercial success. So we decided that we should further dial up the game's level of completeness, the level of perfection, even if it were to require additional development time, which we now know is literally a year and a half, right? So they also then said, through the first CBT, we did receive positive feedback on the game's unique cosmic core universe, its massive open world combat, and distinctive combat system, which makes up the core content of the game. But however, there were also weaknesses that were identified, such as in terms of the technical depth, the content layout, that people gave us the feedback that it should be much more gamer friendly. So like the, you know, lack of direction basically. So we decided to take our time to make changes until the official release date. So, and then they ended with the following statement. Through the CBT, we were able to see and identify the potential for the popularity that this game could actually trigger in the global market. So Kakao Games and the game studio, we really understand the responsibility that we have and the conviction that we could meet such market expectations. So we are making our honest efforts to develop a game with the depth and the content for users to enjoy. So they're basically saying that they realize that global, you know, us global players could really enjoy this game, but it needs serious work. Hence the long delay. And then with this though, guys, because Arcade Chronicles was set to be coming out initially after Chrono Odyssey, but on this new, after this new information and this new lineup, you can see, I'll put it up again for you guys, you can actually see now Arcade Chronicles is set to be coming out in Q3 of 2026, which is interesting. So it's basically been flipped. Chrono was going to be first, but it's looking like no longer that is the case. Now, one thing I will say, which is a little bit, I don't know, it's a little bit confusing, because obviously Kakao Games is publishing both, right? So this seems too close to each other, because originally, if Chrono Odyssey was due to come out at Q4 of 2025, then Arcade Chronicles would have had about a 6-month gap between. There would have been about a 6 months-ish gap between. But now there's not going to be hardly any gap at all. So I don't know how this is going to pan out. I don't know if we're going to see another further delay to either one of these or even both of these. But yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm going to leave it there. I mean, I'm not surprised by the delay. I am disappointed though, you know, because of this whole new build conversation that they had before, but it is what it is. It definitely needs the time to cook. I'll of course be keeping my eye on all of the information, and when there is more info to give to you guys and girls, you can of course expect it right here on this channel. So leave me a comment down below. What are your thoughts about this? Are you surprised? Are you like, yeah, I knew that? And what do you think about Arcade Chronicles and Chrono now being so very close to each other? Do you think this is a big problem, or are you thinking, whatever, one of them's going to get delayed again anyway. So yeah, have a beautiful day. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you very, very soon. Peace.